According to YouTuber Extinct File, the locals in this community say that macabre events happen inside this cursed restaurant, and when the Extinct File team visited, they weren't disappointed. As they searched the place, a moan is heard. Then they happen upon this strange message.
¿Ven esto, familia? No mames, güey. Ve eso. CJNG.
I'm not sure what that could mean. As the team descends the stairs, something nearby breaks.
¿Qué pedo? A la madre, güey. ¿Qué pedo?
Then they come across a mysterious object in a bucket. I really want to know what's so disturbing in that bucket that it must be censored. And as they're looking at it, they hear more noise.
Veo algo raro ahí, güey. No, no mames. No mames. Velo tú mismo, güey.
And yet another room banging is heard.
La madre, güey. Algo nos aventaron, ¿eh?
And again.
Buenas noches. La madre, güey. No mames. Va a ser alguien, güey. Está afuera, ¿eh?
Is something after them?
La madre, güey. La madre. No. Güey. Están por todos lados, güey. No nos quieren aquí, ¿eh?
I think it's pretty clear that ghost hunters aren't welcome here. This is the curses territory, and if you know anything about curses, you know not to mess with them. YouTube team Rota X Investigaso Paranormal explores this haunting place where something horrible happens. As they walk in, they sense there's someone there. As he introduces himself, it sounds like someone runs off into the darkness.
Meu nome é Marco.
Aqui, Marco, na frente, aqui.
They get back to their investigation, addressing the spirits.
Boa noite. A presença que está aqui é da alguém que partiu, que estava aqui na tragédia?
In one dark and scary room, their device goes off.
Feito maior. Por isso a equipe Rota X pede licença para estar entrando aqui.
And a second time.
Tá, obrigado pela sua resposta, tá bom?
And then a third time.
Tá, alguém faleceu aqui, né? E você poderia me dizer...
While the readings are interesting, I'm more intrigued by the person they sensed in the building who seemed to escape. Emma is too afraid to come into her parents' room because she says she can see a bad man in there with them. When her mother asks to point where the person is, she indicates that it's in a dark closet which is open. The mother examines the closet. She doesn't see anything, but she seems to get an uneasy feeling that matches her daughter's emotions.
What, baby? Want daddy? Okay, go get daddy.
The child turns around and freezes. She is too afraid to move without her mother following closely behind her. There's something about this video that seems very dark and genuine. Obviously, the mother felt a presence too, or she would have not uploaded this video with the title of 2-year-old girl sees ghost again. Overall, more information is needed before I make a final judgment, but let me know if you think Emma was seeing something that her parents could not on that night. Published to YouTube in December of 2019, Brandon Gross writes, "My friend Danielle took me into one of the craziest caves I've ever seen. I'm very bad with tight spaces and decided to face my fears. Would he live to regret it? The footage follows the pair squeezing into a tight slot. Holding onto a rope, they descend into what can only be a claustrophobic nightmare. As the underground cave gets tighter and more suffocating by the minute, the cave widens and narrows, but at one point, Brandon notes that the space into which he intends to squeeze is only as wide as the length of his foot. Slithering through the caves, they finally reach the bottom cavern. When they start to continue exploring the claustrophobic corners, Brandon experiences a brief panic attack but continues on, seeing his friend Danielle wriggle ahead as she navigates further restrictive spaces would make anyone squirm, and squirm Brandon does, but he manages to make his way back to the light. When at last Brandon squeezes his way out of the hole, he celebrates being free from that claustrophobic nightmare. This video comes from a YouTuber named Kusun2. He's a college student with an original Xbox that has a very strange and unexplainable problem. Every time he is hanging out by himself, his console likes to turn itself on. This happens so often that Kusun2 decides to record it for evidence. The only problem is that this Xbox appears to be camera shy. He'll stare and stare at it and it won't do a thing. It only seems to turn on when he is doing something else, almost as if it's trying to distract him. Even now as he films his Xbox and explains his story, it refuses to turn on by itself. It makes him look like a fool. After talking for about 5 minutes, Kusun2 finally decides to test his theory and leaves the room. The Xbox does nothing for a long time, but then keep in mind that there's no way to turn on an original Xbox remotely, and he always keeps his controller neatly wrapped up on the top of the system, so he can't be using a controller that's out of sight. On top of that, things have been regularly disappearing and reappearing on their own, and now Kusun2 is extremely creeped out about being alone. A YouTuber named All-in-One Gaming is watching television when a flash of light catches his eye. He looks out his window only to see a shady person trying to gain entry to a nearby shed. All-in-One Gaming is stunned by the situation for a full minute before he remembers that he has motion sensor lights. He quickly activates them and sends the intruder running.
I turned on the light. Holy shit.
It is not clear if this person is simply looking to take property, or if they are one of his thousands of fans who somehow got his home address. If this was a stalker, then who knows what they would have done if they had gotten to him. A YouTube channel called Mux9TV goes exploring some extra scary woods in Pakistan late at night when they find some really creepy stuff that leaves them really freaked out. Out of the woods staggers a mysterious figure who refuses to speak for a long time. His eyes look haunting, like he's seen too much in too short a time and has been wandering for days, unable to get it out of his mind. The group does not know how else to help this person, and so they recite some words of faith over him, which works to the extent of scaring him away back to wherever he came from. This doesn't look like a ghost sighting so much as the aftermath of a person who has had a paranormal experience of their own in the forest and has succumbed to madness in the days since. Either way, they're definitely not the type of person you'd want to encounter in the woods, so I bet the group is relieved when he runs away, but at the same time, he could probably use some help. Hopefully he finds peace, but with that scary stare, I don't see how such a thing is going to be possible. A YouTuber named Cup of Mocha is in the middle of making a video when she realizes she is no longer by herself at home.
What the This door is not supposed to be open.
The video goes from light and playful to an emergency situation after she sees the busted basement door. I personally would have called the police at this point, but Cup of Mocha decides to stay. Watch this part and tell me if you think she should have ran upstairs or kept recording.
I'm just gonna film this just in case like the police find it or something. But that's what the heck is going on?
She goes from room to room, half expecting to get jumped by some crazed intruder at any moment. She eventually tiptoes into a large laundry room with many hiding spots. It looks all clear until this happens next.
There's literally no one here. Oh my!
According to Cup of Mocha, someone bumps her from behind and she drops her camera as they run away. I wasn't sure if this was real or not, but over 1 year later, she still appears to be having problems with this obsessed fan.
Oh my god, Monique, we need to go. Come here. What?
She sounds really scared here, but I would like to know if you think she is truly in danger or just making a fictional series. A YouTuber named Dachi YT is standing at the edge of an underground tunnel when something completely unexpected comes up running to him. The real question is whether this is a friend playing a joke or if this is a creature that was once human. The noise it makes sounds like someone struggling to make a sentence, so maybe this person has lost their minds or is even under the effects of a possession. The small steps it takes are creepy, and it's hard to tell if he's doing them involuntarily or on purpose. Lastly, its eyes glow in the dark despite a lack of light. I want to believe it's fake, but I think the glowing red eyes indicate otherwise. Love.avi is a haunting deep web video that focuses on a strange relationship between a man wearing a white mask and a clown with a blade. At times it's almost as if the clown is wordlessly encouraging the man to go out and commit unspeakable acts. I don't know if it's subliminal messages or what, but there's something about this video that makes most people feel uneasy after watching it. There's not even really any jump scares or anything like that. It's just the overall sinister tone. If you detected any hidden messages in this video, or if anything weird happened while you were watching this video, please be sure to let me know. These situations usually end badly. This one, although extremely frightening, ended as well as it could have. It was February 8th, 1977. Tony Kiritsis, a 44-year-old man from Indianapolis, was set to meet about his mortgage with Richard O. Hall, a mortgage broker. Kiritsis wasn't making his payments, and a request for an extension was denied. Kiritsis was afraid that Hall would sell his property for the equity. After they'd gone in for the meeting as normal, Kiritsis led Hall out of his office with a barrel held to the base of Hall's neck. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment plan in action. Kiritsis had thought this through. The barrel was wired to Hall's neck, while the trigger was wired to a ring he wore on his index finger. This meant that Hall would perish if he tried to run away, and he would perish as well if someone tried to retrieve the gun from Kiritsis. Before leaving the office, Kiritsis also phoned the cops to tell them that if they attempted to intervene, Hall's life would end. He then led Hall through the streets of Indianapolis to Kiritsis' apartment, where he held Hall captive for 3 days. Kiritsis' demands that his debt be eliminated, that he wouldn't be prosecuted for his actions, and that the mortgage company admit fault. This is the scary part that was caught on camera. Kiritsis alerted the news media that Richard Hall would be reading a statement that he, Kiritsis, had written. Hall could barely speak due to the strain from the wire against his neck, so Kiritsis ended up reading the piece himself live on air. His delivery lasted for 23 minutes. When Kiritsis got what he wanted, Hall was released unharmed. Police, of course, prosecuted Kiritsis despite promising otherwise, and he was found not guilty by reason of insanity. He was thrown in a mental institution for 11 years. Later, he apologized for what he had done and said that he never wanted to hurt anyone. Thankfully, he didn't. point. Salem, Massachusetts is considered to be one of the most haunted places in all of the United States due to its lengthy history of hunting witches and the foul spirits they bring. This ghost sighting was posted on Twitter by none other than the mayor of Salem. Eerie is how she describes it. A ghostly face with a furrowed brow and chiseled nose stares back at the mayor with a stern frown. I don't know if this lamppost is of historical significance, but it definitely seems to have become imbued with a spirit of some sort over the years. I doubt the mayor was doing this for attention, since she is already a high-ranking public official and gets enough of that already. If anything, the fact that she is willing to put her political career on the line by claiming that spirits are real shows how much she believes in what she saw. Parents may especially have trouble watching this dashcam video from Toronto. This father with a baby stroller is about to have the scariest encounter a father could ever experience. He's getting his kid out from some snow when a thoughtless driver goes through a red light and almost takes them both out. The car has some flashing lights on the back, so it could have been an emergency and might explain why they were going so fast. Still, had he been pushing the baby stroller in front of him, this would have been a much different video. Thankfully, that wasn't the case. Matt Bell accidentally manages to catch his neighbor's house on video as it goes up in flames. Watch about a minute in as a flaming piece of debris flutters across the street and lands in his hedges with a solid thud. Soon his front yard is ablaze, and now Matt's house looks like it is about to go up next. It looks pretty bad for a while, until his neighbors run over with some garden hoses and work on putting out the flames. Meanwhile, all Matt can do is watch on his phone with terror as he rushes home.
Please put that out for me, please. I'm on my way home.
Your house on fire!
Yeah, I know. I'm on my way.
The authorities are ultimately able to contain the blaze and keep it from spreading to other residences. This video just goes to show how easily the fire could have spread. If that flaming chunk had landed on Matt's roof instead of the hedges, there would have been little that his neighbors could have done. Ryan Prunty is certain their estate is haunted after this creepy experience in their attic happened. Let's take a look at what he and his friend caught on tape and see if it's really paranormal.
Still, I think it's all good up here, dude. We're gonna explore a little further. No.
Bro, it's locked.
Isn't it funny, Bailey?
I'm not
Open
kidding,
the door,
bro.
Bailey.
It's locked.
Bailey, open the door.
Look.
What is that?
It doesn't look like the door got stuck by itself. At 11 minutes and 34 seconds, the locking mechanism has been turned into a horizontal locked position. Someone, either a ghost or one of their roommates, must have been on the other side. They force open the door, and less than a minute later, this mysterious orb guides them to another weird event. No one else is home, and yet they see wet footprints outside of the shower that lead to nowhere. Maybe one of them showered and left, but I think most people would pick up the towel first. It's a creepy video, but all of these ghostly encounters would be easy to fake with the help of a third person. So I'm wondering if that's exactly what they did. A YouTuber named Chris Starr takes an electrometer to an antique store with Omar Gosh to check for signs of the paranormal. They find this creepy old marionette without a nose that seems responsive and eager to communicate.
Please let us know by touching my K2 meter. We really want to know if you have a story or not. Oh, God.
So they buy it and run some experiments in the car, where a special spirit box is waiting to help translate. First of all, the marionette seems to react positively to being untangled and held properly. When they ask for its name, a female voice struggles with an answer that a male voice soon finishes. Then they hear some other creepy whispers that I can't understand, but I'm hoping maybe you will.
Can you tell me your name?
I'm I'm not sure what to think, but the fact that this puppet responds to 2 different pieces of paranormal equipment makes me think that this has a greater chance of being real than not. If it is possessed by a spirit, then it could also be cursed, in which making this video could carry dire consequences. Have you ever gone on a real-life witch hunt? Way of Vlogs has, and he published his scary encounter in June of 2016, writing, "Finally found where the witch has been living." The YouTuber must have posted other videos of the witch prior to searching for her abode. In this footage, he claims that these stick crosses that he's come across in the woods indicate where the witch he encountered is living. He says there's logs in this wooded area and ceremonial things, although none of that is shown. Then he points out the strangest thing, a teepee made of sticks. As he's filming the teepee, something sets him on edge. He pans around and off to the left stands a woman with jet black hair dressed in white. She's unmoving, but her presence there is unnerving enough to make the YouTuber hightail it out of there. What would you do if you came across this lady in the forest at night? Dark Mystic is the name of a paranormal YouTuber in Russia who intends on exploring an abandoned cottage home in the middle of some pretty scary woods late at night. He wants to determine what kind of paranormal entities haunt this abandoned building, and he's certain he's caught creepy things on camera. He finds a room with half the walls covered in newspaper clippings. They look to have been carefully cut out and are not overlapping, which to me means they were meant to be read instead of part of a remodeling project or something like that. If you speak Russian, what do these headlines say? I can't help but suspect this is a trophy room and someone is proud of making the news.
Кто здесь?
He hears somebody cough, but nothing is there. It's creepy, but the paranormal activity really picks up when he goes exploring the haunted attic. He keeps hearing objects getting thrown around, dropped, or otherwise moving on their own. And when Dark Mystic goes to check what they are, something moves into the doorway as if rolled into place by a ghostly hand. Dark Mystic is certain that something paranormal is toying with him and arms himself. He may be right, but I'm not sure what use a blunt force instrument would be on something not of this world, a being made of shadows that peeks at him from around the door. This YouTuber is fairly sure that he's captured a ghost on his dash cam when he's traveling down a suburban road and sees reflective lights on the right. Watch the parked car on the right to see what I mean.
So you know.
Yeah.
I personally think it looks like someone could be stepping into his line of movement here. It happens quickly, so I'll play it again in slow motion. Let me know if you see it. But when he pulls up to where the lights were, he and his friends are surprised to find nothing's there.
Where did it go?
Public Radio Internet.
They walked in front of the car, right?
Yeah, it was like a wheelchair or something.
Both of them swear they saw the lights and thought someone was crossing the street. I guess his headlights could have been reflecting off of the parked car, but then again, the angle doesn't exactly seem to match up. Let me know if you see it and what you think it could have been. Multiple instances of objects moving on their own has a YouTuber named Callum Tonner convinced that his Seattle house is haunted by a fearsome poltergeist. Lots of bizarre activity is frequently caught on camera, so I'm going to analyze the top 5 videos of best paranormal evidence. In the first weird video, he claims to find a coat hanger swinging back and forth in the closet. I will say that they could have pushed the object themselves before recording and then pretended it was a ghost. Normally I would say this video is fake, except this is far from the only scary event in which objects were caught on camera moving on their own, and the other videos are much harder to explain. Later that night, with the haunted closet behind him and its doors open, a completely different object is caught moving on camera on its own.
What was that?
Even if you were moving a magnetic object under the table, I still don't think it would be strong enough to move the other objects through the heavy wooden desk. He creates the paranormal experiment again 4 nights later, and if you weren't able to tell what the 2 objects are, it's a flashlight moving across a phone that's turned on. And here's the thing, any magnetic force strong enough to move an object that large should also cause damage to the phone, which it doesn't. The phone is fine, and therefore I think a ghost is moving the flashlight. 4 more nights later, the ghost has apparently taken to shuffling through his private card collection, and even more haunting paranormal activity is caught on camera without any explanation. If you were thinking that he bent the cards or something to make them fall over, but not what's happening, you can see more of the cards in this video. They look perfectly straight and evenly balanced, so tell me how these sturdy objects are caught on tape moving. Paranormal activity is all I can think for these super creepy and mysterious events, but I'm open to any other explanation. Mega Skelly 11 is a YouTuber who has been experiencing all sorts of strange paranormal activity throughout their home. Sometimes it's something simple like a potted plant wobbling on its own, and sometimes it's much more malevolent. Mega Skelly 11 claims that this is a poltergeist, and after reviewing this video, I have to agree. There's just too much going on at once to easily fake this in my opinion, and I see no indication that this is a setup. Let me know if you believe this is real, or if you have a better explanation. A Redditor named Stalker the Zone seems like he is in a real hurry as he records a wheelchair at the hospital. He is definitely waiting for something to happen, but I get the feeling he doesn't want to get caught by anyone using his phone, so maybe this is his place of work.
Come on.
Just when he is about to give up, the wheelchair comes to life and moves on its own. His vindication gives way to horror when he realizes the wheelchair is turning his way.
See, I no.
I guess someone off screen could be pulling the wheelchair towards them, but my understanding is that wheelchairs are fairly heavy, and any wire that could pull it would also be thick enough to see on video. You may remember me talking about D-Menace in a previous video, but I wanted to give this video a further analysis. To describe D-Menace in short terms, the best would probably be Adrenaline Junkie. First appearing on YouTube in 2018, he has posted a variety of videos from conducting one-breath dives to venturing deep into tight caves. His videos are not for the faint of heart and can distress people with the feats he conducts. He has also posted several urban exploration videos. In June 2020, D ventured into an abandoned malt factory complex with several buildings to explore. All alone, he traveled through the dark and derelict halls. For the first half of the video, nothing particularly strange happens. D ventures through the various passages and even into the basement, finding strange and even beautiful graffiti on the walls. As he approaches the stairs to the basement, he feels apprehension as, in his words, the walls and ceiling begin to resemble the altered state of Silent Hill when it transitions to Otherworld.
I think I reached a really dangerous
dangerous and scary part here because it's starting to feel and look exactly like in Silent Hill.
After some time, he decides to continue down the depths. Here, he finds a red bed or chair, something that gives him the creeps. Written on it in German is, "Raise your legs and chill." He continues to explore the basement, but is in a constant state of discomfort from the darkness and his mind playing tricks on him. Therefore, he decides to head back upstairs. He then states part of what creeps him out about this place is the lack of wildlife residing in the building. Unlike other places he's explored, he hasn't seen a single bird or rodent since arriving. As he makes his way into the second part of the complex, he begins to feel more anxious, hearing noises around him. He admits he is unaware if it is because he is simply spooked or if there's another person inside with him. Not long after making this statement, Dee discovers he is, in fact, not alone in the complex. As he is showing the view out the window, a man suddenly and casually walks out from the trees. Completely oblivious, Dee sees and is recording him. The man walks calmly to the same building Dee is in, but Dee is clearly nervous and says he hopes the man does not have ill intent. He then hears the man speaking, but it is unknown to whom. After, Dee becomes quiet, listening and acting increasingly anxious. Soon he enters a similar room to where he first saw the man walking up and is startled to see a pair of legs on the other side of a hole in the wall. He quickly quiets down and kneels, but realizes the man must have heard him as the legs retreat in the opposite direction. Realizing the risk of this situation, he decides to try and exit the building. However, as he approaches a corner, the man emerges and pushes Dee to the ground. After some exchanged words, the two men calm down and discover it was a simple misunderstanding. The other individual, named Jonathan, is just another urban explorer who is also unsure of Dee's intentions. Luckily this time, for both men, neither were there for anything bad and were just wanting to check the place out. Dee's video is a wake-up call for anyone intending to do their own exploration or even ghost hunts. Abandoned buildings pose all sorts of hazards, mostly from the decaying condition of the structures posing physical hazards. What is often overlooked is the possibilities of others in the building who could potentially be living there or committing unsavory deeds away from prying eyes. Both Dee and Jonathan were justified in their suspicion of each other, and on this occasion were able to laugh it off and even continue to explore the building together. It is likely this made the adventure safe, as the two would now be able to look out for one another in case an accident occurred. It goes as a reminder to how the paranormal is not the only thing to be afraid of on these tours. Dee was definitely thanking his lucky stars he stumbled across Jonathan, as both explorers decided to head into the basement, as Dee felt it was better to have company. Down there they find spray cans, a piece of a bicycle body, and a package. However, down a deep corridor, Dee finds a bone. While it could be misinterpreted for human, Jonathan points out it doesn't appear to be. On analysis, it more so resembles one someone would give their dog to chew on. Regardless, Dee decides to leave the bone there. Certainly an adrenaline-inducing adventure this time, and thankfully Dee made a new friend to explore with. Still goes to show how careful one must be about the place they explore, as well as who might be in it. This poltergeist is throwing a tantrum. Published by Derek Hull in February of 2021, the angsty geist is first seen slamming a door in the cameraman's face. Exhilarated that he caught it on camera, the man races to the door and opens it, finding no one inside.
Yes, I caught it! What the heck?
He runs back through, asking the poltergeist to repeat the action, but the door remains open. One of the crew enters the room while the others stand outside, watching the door. They approach and the door closes again. It isn't clear if the other crew member was inside the room, as there was a cut in the video. It doesn't seem like he exited. They apologize for angering the poltergeist and say they will leave.
Alright, I'm gonna open the door and that's it. We're gonna leave, okay? Sorry for off.
But that's not without one last slam, this time coming from some shutters off to the right, I assume.
Home time?
Oh, there's two people right there by the bucket to the left of it.
Is this spirit moving around them, or is it all encompassing? A YouTuber named Christian Weave is on an amusement park ride when he films something. The video shows an unlucky kid on the ground, hanging onto his belt. As the ride slowly comes to a stop,
We're not helping. Wow. That's not, we're just laughing. These are not working.
it is unclear if he was unbuckled and hanging on during the entire ride. All his friends can do is laugh at his misfortune as he scrambles to his feet and slides back into a strap. Look closely and you'll see how all of the belts appear to be loosely wrapped around the passengers, and not just him. Maybe the operator did not strap them insecurely. If anyone knows the name of this ride, then please let me know. While exploring the Royal Arcade in Keighley in the UK, the YouTube team Staffordshire Paranormal Explorers encounters an abundance of paranormal activity. As they communicate with the spirits, they hear what sounds like a door moving.
We heard a dragging noise in here before, or possible footstep shuffling.
What was that?
They hear unexplained taps and knocks.
Got two knocks?
Yeah. It was like dun dun.
As they continue throughout the place, a disembodied whistle or whisper is heard.
Okay, spirits, we know you're here with us now.
And not long after, two thuds are heard.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Later, a distinct whistle sounds.
Heard a whistle then.
In my opinion, this place is creepy enough without all the whispers and whistles, but the paranormal activity really puts it over the edge. A YouTuber named Jessie V and her sister Mandy are constantly hearing strange noises coming from the attic. They would have happily never gone up there, if not for their insistent fans who demanded to know the answer. They finally work up enough courage to take a ladder up there. Mandy goes up first and gets a really bad feeling. She's describing the general layout when they catch something that might have followed her back down. In a mirror on the wall is the reflection of a figure that is a quarter of the size of Mandy, whose much larger reflection can be seen right beside it. Whatever this is, it's standing right in front of both of them. Jessie turns the camera to reveal her father standing off to the side, but he is way too tall to be it. Also, this figure lacks any color or detail at all. Only later, when a commenter pointed out the creepy shadow person, did they go back and review the video. No answer was ever provided. The Chernobyl power plant left this place covered in radiation in 1986. Only recently was a small part reopened for tourism in 2011. The rest is still too radiated and therefore off limits. Russian YouTuber Vlad Reznov wants to test these limits. He goes exploring the woods and finds an old abandoned cottage that would be perfect for a 24-hour challenge. Night falls. Roving cliques are rumored to be out here. Families aggressively changed by radiation who don't like outsiders, and they know he's here. They can't get inside because he's tied the doorknob to the bedpost, so they can't go around the outside.
Знаешь, что мне делать? Просто... Не знаю.
now is his chance. He opens the door while they are trying to get in through a window, not sure if there is more waiting for him inside, and expecting to get jumped around every corner. The bike is outside. He has to get to his bike. He makes it out of there, but there's an overall lack of urgency to this video that makes me think it could be fake. We don't ever get to see this mutant family, so it could be one of his friends opening the door. They probably found an abandoned house and thought it would be a good place for a scary video, but I guess we'll never know for sure. History comes to life at this old stone church, and so do the spirits. Route X Paranormal Investigation calls this one of the best records of paranormal activity in a century-old stone church in the north-central part of the state of Rio de Janeiro. Soon enough, they come to the old stone church, but before they even arrive at the stone church, they spot something in the darkness. Their cameras don't capture what it is they're seeing. Soon enough, they come to the old stone church. Its creepy facade is enough to send you on your way. Inside, they find overgrowth, vines dangling, some seemingly suspended mid-air. Later, they stand before a small crucifix in a stone room. They speak to the spirits through a spirit box here. One says that she's listening to them and that she is suffering, but the creepiest part is yet to come. As the cameraman stands far off, he captures a shadow figure shifting past the crew in the crucifix room. Is this the spirit they were speaking to, or do they have multiple entities surrounding them? When American Airlines Flight 280 took off from Seoul, South Korea, heading to Dallas, none of the 240 passengers aboard the flight knew they were about to take the scariest ride of their lives, but that's just what happened. The plane encountered severe turbulence, which was caught on camera by passengers. The turbulence was so severe that the flight was diverted to Tokyo. After 15 people aboard the flight were injured, 5 of them being hospitalized. One passenger, Mark Stanley, an attorney in Dallas, told the Morning News they were diverted after 45 plus minutes of insane turbulence. The remaining passengers were put up in Tokyo for the night, but not sure if I'd have the stomach to get back on a plane the next day. Alex Paranormal is a British paranormal investigator who was asked by a fellow ghost hunter to verify the house was haunted after some paranormal activity happened to him. At 4 minutes and 22 seconds, his meter detects some paranormal wavelengths along an overturned mattress.
If we want us to go, flash device to orange.
They respect its wishes and walk away. Next few rooms feel normal, but look what happens at 5 minutes and 55 seconds.
I feel like I'm just touching my leg, mate.
You can see he feels something touch his leg at 6 minutes, a full 3 seconds before the meter goes off. So he felt something touch his leg first, and then the meter confirmed. And that's not all that happens to Alex in this room.
Hello? Can you flash the device again if you're here with us? That's crazy, isn't it?
A shadow person is in the glass. Look again.
Hello? Can you flash the device again if you're here with us? That's crazy, isn't it?
The rest of the house doesn't have much activity, so they return to the overturned mattress because it's the only place where their meter went off. It still seems to not want to talk. Then it seems to mock him by repeating the last phrase of his question as soon as he says it.
How many spirits are here?
That's when Alex feels something touch him again and the camera goes out of focus and stays out of focus as something enters the room to stand with them.
Did someone touch my leg?
And look what happens when they try to refocus it. The camera can focus on their hand, no problem, but stays out of focus with the rest of the room. More proof something else is here.
You put your hand in front of it, Mike. Is that you touching the camera?
When they try the spirit box in the bathroom, they record only a yell. The only area left is the basement, but Alex quickly comes back upstairs after something brushes by him again. They set up the spirit box at the top of the steps and get a woman's voice, perhaps the same spirit who was yelling before. She calmly gives some unnerving advice in a reassuring voice. They remove all of their equipment from the meter just in case it was messing up their readings, and then they ask again.
If you want us to leave, flash that device to red.
Yeah, not red, mate. You said a minute ago, turn it to red if you want us to leave.
There's no way for them to be faking this that I can tell. Alex Paranormal immediately turns off the video. That's not the only time they've had direct interaction with spirits, and I'm confident it won't be the last if they keep exploring places like this in the future. Warning, if you summon the Llorona, prepare for the worst. While investigating the Hinsdale house, YouTuber Mo Sargi summoned the Weeping Woman, and he lived to regret it. While speaking through a spirit box, he received some answers.
Was there actually an exorcism here? Oh my, that was a yes.
And like an evil, like it was mad.
But the interview is cut short.
Was it a priest?
Behind you, behind you! What? Behind you! Something just appeared behind you! Something just appeared behind you!
What?
Like a mist, like a white mist. Holy f***.
I don't blame him. I'd be done too if I'd just seen La Llorona in the flesh. This paranormal crew's third visit to this prison did not disappoint. CVS Paranormal enters Dorchester Prison, a criminal facility in which executions have been carried out. In previous investigations of this prison, the team has captured some truly eerie figures on camera, like this one. As the team enters, whispering is heard on the audio.
This is a big main entrance where down there is, big main entrance where down there is,
A second EVP captures a low growl.
Prisoner was in here. Prisoner was in here.
This is shortly followed by a door closing or opening.
Sounded like a growl or something. Sounded like a growl or something.
And scratching noises.
This is a big one. Yeah, definite noises.
This singing is what's really chilling.
I just heard, I swear I just heard singing. It sounded like it's coming from here as well. Soldier. Oh!
But it's when you're not searching for ghosts that they come find you.
Trust me.
It seems Dorchester Prison is truly rife with activity, but whether it's good or evil is anyone's guess. It's midnight when Sylvia Slarb gets an iPhone notification that someone is at her door. She looks out the window and doesn't see anything, so she goes back to sleep. The next morning, she remembers the incident and quickly checks her phone. This weird shining orb is what her doorbell cam automatically recorded on that night. I have no logical explanation for this aside from a possible insect, but as far as I know, a bug this small and this far away should not be able to trip the sensor. Therefore, I cannot exclude the paranormal as well. We may have just discovered the soundtrack to your nightmares. Published to YouTube by Column A in June of 2019. This clip shows a young man in a prison cell, no context given. He speaks to the camera and, in the midst of his monologue, he gives a strange, otherworldly shriek like a velociraptor. Why? Well, YouTubers have a wealth of hypotheses. For example, Lord Woody thinks that the man is sucking the soul out of the cameraman. I just know if I were in this situation, I'd be getting the heck out of there. It's every urban explorer's worst nightmare. YouTuber Exploring with Danny apparently uncovered 4 bodies while exploring this abandoned place. His dog came across them first.
Diesel! Diesel, what are you doing, boy?
After entering, Danny realizes he's happened upon a grim scene.
Oh my. Hello?
I want to think it's fake, but Danny's reaction seems all too real.
Diesel, come on. We need some police, Diesel.
This creepy video takes viewers on an adventure around the world through Google Earth, and what we discover is not of this world. Published by Kanon Mujik, the journey begins with a zoom toward Japan. Landing on the streets of an unknown city, Google Earth pans skyward between 2 buildings and spies this thing floating above. It looks like a squid or octopus. The dark figure's details are difficult to make out, but it has 2 thin limbs, a short abdomen, and a football-shaped head. What is this thing? Is it an extraterrestrial? Is it some creepy kite? Or is it the ocean in the sky? Beware of where the Rando Nautica app may lead. Published to TikTok by Haley AIG in August of 2020. The app led this unfortunate group into a forest, and they weren't alone. Haley explains that the app took them to a park in the middle of nowhere. As the camera pans around, she notes that they've only seen trees so far, but they seem to have missed this figure poking its head out from behind one of those trees. As they wander across a wooden bridge, this forlorn dark-haired figure dressed in black crosses the path at the end of a dirt road. The girls wander on, and all you can see is the ground for a moment as they wonder if they're being followed, and then it's clear that they are. While many TikTokers are loving this, Austin Payton writes, "I may or may not have fallen off of my bed," while others claim that their souls left their bodies and they threw their phones across the room. Haley writes, "I deleted the Rando Nautica app after. That's probably for the best." A man on a train awakes to find someone staring at him in a weird way, a ghost in the window to be precise. The pale figure doesn't move, supposedly locking eyes with the passenger, who at this point is beyond creeped out, feels watched, and thinks this is some scary stuff to wake up to. When zoomed in, it could be the reflection of something inanimate, though of what I'm not so sure. Whatever it is, the transparent outline of a face is still visible nonetheless. If you still can't see see it. Look on the right side of the window and you'll see a weird face with a long, narrow nose and all black eyes pressed against the glass. I assume the person who caught this on camera takes this train often and has never seen anything like this before. So what could this strange sighting be? Paranormal explorer Chris L. Luna has spent many sleepless nights due to paranormal activity in her home in the Dominican Republic. She decided to record her bedroom while sleeping. This is what she captured. Watch the pillow on the bed. Next, the picture moves on the wall. Chriselle wakes up for a bit, maybe sensing something, but then goes back to sleep, and the picture moves again. Chriselle gets up after witnessing it for herself. That's when she sees this mysterious anomaly. And while outside, she captures this face in the window. Has Chriselle unknowingly brought home legions of spirits and demons during her paranormal investigations? That's my theory, and it seems they're determined to never let her sleep again. This CCTV footage comes from the London Dungeon, a famous tourist attraction in England that's rumored to be haunted. An employee is tending to their duties in the laundry room all alone. When they go to open the door to the washing machine, a hand reaches out and makes a grab at them. Weirder still is how the camera switches to static merely moments before this happens. Since technological malfunctions can often indicate the presence of the paranormal, and also given the location, I think this strange video could definitely be real, and if so, it's something that this employee will never be able to unsee. Exploring with Danny is back, this time at an abandoned building rumored to have strange lights and other happenings. Within minutes of entering, they hear a humming noise that briefly morphs into strange piano music coming from the basement. As they round a corner, they find candles are placed in a circle. A woman with a pale face and long black hair turns to them, but I'm not exactly buying it. I mean, her shoes kind of look normal to me, so this could just be a regular person dressed up. Still, the way she continues to chase after them makes me wonder if she's a crazy person, or if I'm wrong about her being a ghost completely. But skid or not, there really might be something lurking down there with them. Everyone is lurking at the corner on the left at the 7-minute mark, but what I want to know is what's up with the two different colored eyes in the back. Perhaps something was watching them this whole time.
So I'm hearing really weird noises outside and I'm kind of freaked out because it's late and they're really weird.
A YouTuber named Shadow of Joey has been hearing some strange disturbances outside of his window and decides to make a quick video about it. He summons all of the courage in his body and makes himself open the window while recording. This bizarre 3-second sighting is what he finds. A shrill warning call fills the night as a dark figure scurries by his window on all fours. This could be some kind of wild creature, but the feet look to be in the shape of shoes. It's likely that this video is just a friend wearing all black clothing and covering their face. With that said, maybe it was somebody possessed, or even the rake taking on its human form. Shadow of Joey wisely decides not to pursue the creature to get more video evidence, so we may never know the real story for certain. Tuber Exploring with Josh spent the night in this building, one of the UK's most haunted hospitals.
It's called the Bonnie Garth Workhouse / Asylum.
Up to 300 people lost their lives or died. Or 300 people could be alive.
At first, the explorers scare each other.
We're fast, I bet.
I'm so glad no one got my reaction. Dude!
But later they discover it's not each other they should be afraid of.
You can let me know. I'm gonna keep going. Oh, yeah, okay. You ready?
After receiving that confirmation, they get a verbal one as well.
Or is it more like you here?
There's more. Do you like us?
According to the spirit's communication, there are more like him around. Did one of these others touch Seth?
We're back in the dark. We're finding the stairs. Something just touched your back. Yo, chill. For real? I swear, bro. Dude, I'm telling you, this one.
I believe the spirit when he says he's not alone. The fact that multiple devices were triggered when the spirit was questioned makes me think this isn't just coincidence. Something is residing here. A TikToker named Brandy Sawyer is exploring an abandoned house with some friends and thinks she sees a ghost before they even get inside. It's standing in the center top right window, the vague outline of a person pressed against the glass. If you don't see anything, let me circle the head. Do you see it now? What's weird is that the windows above and below are clean, and even the top part of this window is clean too, and yet this one section is hard to see through and contains a round floating object, possibly a face, that seems to follow their moves. A large, lonesome mansion seems like the perfect place for a channel called Abandoned World Explorer to do its thing, but they seem to miss the questionable red stain seen here at the 8-minute and 11-second mark as they tentatively test the floor to make sure they don't fall through. Most of the house looks run down, but they come across a creepy entrance that you will have to crouch down to get into. The passageway goes on for 3 full minutes until they find an even more foreboding staircase descending deeper. It looks like the steps could break away or something could reach out from below. The very bottom floor feels extremely off and wrong. He's poking around when something grabs his attention from behind.
Hello?
This odd area of the house personally gives me the feeling that someone was kept here away from the rest of the family, though I don't know why. He understandably leaves before he gets a chance to investigate what was possibly down there with him. There's a YouTube channel called Happy Life that ironically explores some of the most miserably haunted places in all of Pakistan. Happy Life began as a spiritual advice channel, and now they hope to better understand the darker side of spirituality through paranormal investigations like this one. This time, the Happy Life crew intends to check out a haunted school where numerous students were said to have lost their lives. Early on, they encounter a poltergeist who is intent on chasing them away. The first encounter sounds like it's throwing plates, but then it graduates to a heavy bottle that could have really done them harm. Doors also repeatedly close as if something really doesn't want them to go any further. But the more I look at it, the more I think the cameraman is responsible for all of this rather than a ghost. The objects always just so happen to be thrown from the cameraman's direction, a strange coincidence, and the camera person always seems to be within arm's reach whenever the doors close, so I think he is either kicking it or else pushing it shut with his free hand. But when they get to the very top of the school, they find this mysterious red streak of dried up liquid overlooking the balcony. So even though parts of this video may have possibly been embellished, perhaps a student really did lose their life here after all. The situation only gets weirder when they come across a star in the hall that could have been used as a ritual or simply drawn by them to make the video scarier. I think it could be real though, because look what happens soon after one of them kneels in the middle. The way it echoes down the hall sounds forcefully loud and possibly real. One of them explores a room, while the other records from outside the window. No one else is nearby, so then tell me who is responsible for what happens next. They decide the inside is too dangerous to go any further and stick to the outer perimeter. Eventually, they come across a shallow well that gives off a residual negative energy that could be left over from a terrible and tragic event. Something compels them to climb inside, and sure enough, the dirt has been freshly disturbed. An orb passes left to right over the small grave as he plucks this fragment of human and holds it to the camera. Ken Heron and his ghost investigating assistant Gary explore an old burned down house covered in soot and ash. Trash litters the inside, and every surface feels sharp and broken, so they can't stay for long. As they are leaving, Ken gets the feeling that they are being watched, a feeling that Gary soon confirms.
Anything behind me? I'm scared. Dude, there is something up.
Sure enough, this figure is observing them from the very corner of the window, barely noticeable if not for its single glowing white eye. They look to be crouched down to make themselves even harder to see, but here's the thing, nobody should be standing in that spot at all. Ken and Gary were just in that house, and they both know that's a portion of the room with a collapsed floor. This couple is dedicated to, as their description states, the search of paranormal activity in places with terrifying histories, as is sometimes possible when investigating. Ghosts have followed investigators to their homes, and they believe someone they made contact with on a previous investigation did just that. On January 21st, 2021, they hosted a live stream to document what they believed was a haunting in their home. Hoping to document evidence and find answers, they invited the public to join on their session. The first half of the investigation seems to produce little results, but something rather disturbing appears as they venture down the stairs. Through a glazed window overlooks the stairs, the figure of a woman can be seen staring towards the camera. At first glance, it can be easily mistaken for a painting, but when inspecting it closer, you can see there is actual 3D depth to it, something a painting would be impossible to have. The figure looks either like a woman with long dark hair or someone wearing a robe. To further prove it is not a painting, the same window is shown a few minutes later and the figure is gone. Furthermore, they venture outside to show the other side, and it is several feet above the ground, making it impossible for anyone to get up there without a ladder. Nothing around the window resembles the figure, as it has simply vanished. As they descend further down the stairs, an orb can be seen flying fast across the top left corner of the screen. Once they reach the bottom step, a loud, low exhale can be heard.
La esfera.
The sound is too low pitched to be either of the couple, as we could hear them breathe beforehand and it doesn't match. It is also possible it was the sound of something sliding, although we cannot see what or if anything moves. Unfortunately, the remainder of the video becomes uneventful and other apparent orbs can be easily explained. For example, while they are filming a mirror, a glowing orb-like spectacle can be seen flying around. However, when the camera's light is turned off, it disappears, meaning it was simply a glare from the light itself. It's terrifying to imagine something becoming attached to you and following you back to your home. It's one of the risks when going on investigations, meaning it is not for the faint of heart. It also shows how there are more than just the physical dangers on these adventures, with even professional investigators such as Ghost Adventures suffering from severe states of paranormal oppression and even possession. It goes as a warning for those who decide to take up the cause for themselves. Take heed and be aware of what you are getting into, even if you are a skeptic or non-believer. Respect the locations you are visiting. Some videos are so terrifying that you may catch yourself holding your breath. Redditor Wayne Bruce 11 was wondering why the TV was on in the morning and on a channel no one in the household ever watched. That's when he checked his security camera. It captured this at around 3 in the morning. Something has turned on the news. Well, I think this could definitely just be a connection or technical problem. The Redditor says they've been dealing with this ghost for 15 years. At least, the ghost's worst roommate faux pas is only late night TV watching. A spirit pulls a member of the YouTube team, Kaza Sobrenatural, down a staircase in this scary video. Upon first entering the haunted place, they hear something, and they discover a rope tied to a wooden beam overhead.
A gente acabou de escutar os passos ali. Calma, Der. Tá muito iluminado ali, acho que não. Normal. E a corda continua aqui, aquela corda, cara, que tinha aqui, ó. Parecia que uma pessoa tava querendo se enforcar. Aqui.
Is that a noose? As they continue their search of the place, they hear a voice.
Escutou a voz aqui, ó. Olha lá. Escutou a voz? Credo, Sandro.
They hear something again and start to head upstairs.
Sério, cara, não tô falando assim. Ouviu?
O que foi isso? Meu Deus.
Pega a maneira.
O que foi isso?
Não, aqui eu sei, aqui. Imagina.
But they soon wish they wouldn't have.
Pegar aí.
Vou sair daqui.
Nossa, pegar aí.
Vou sair daqui.
Ô, cara! Meu Deus do céu, Sandro! Que coisa? Ô, velho! O que Lucas? Ô, Lucas!
What just dragged this crew member down the stairs? If it is indeed a spirit, I wouldn't be following it downward. It may be leading this team to the fiery depths below. YouTuber Chad Miller found a secret room in the attic of his house. You don't see this every day, he writes. You certainly don't. It looks like Chad is just moving into a new house, and now the fun begins. It's time to explore it. Inside a closet, he finds a ladder-like stairwell leading into a secret hidden room. As he crawls in, you find that it doesn't look like any old attic, unfinished with cobwebs and stacked with unruly odds and ends. Instead, the attic looks well finished with wooden walls, light fixtures, and a nice clean space. It's like a sauna but air conditioned, Chad says. It does in fact look like a sauna. The room is rather large, with all wooden walls and even a couple of wooden benches. What was this super secret room used for? We can only guess. All I know is that I wouldn't mind finding this secret room in my new home. Will fish soon walk on land? It looks like one's already there. Published to the oddly terrifying subreddit, Redditor Big Black Onyx writes the cryptic message, "They are evolving." The mysterious video shows a large fish on a slab of snowy ice jutting into the water. The oddly terrifying fish appears to be standing up on its fins, taking in great gulps of air. Many have reacted to the walking fish, which has become the subject of numerous memes, originally appearing in iFunny, posted by user Saika Gamberger in December of 2019. The video has been viewed, liked, and tweeted millions of times, and that's perhaps due to its unnerving nature. Redditor's sci-fi ship controller remarks, "Not sure what is more unsettling, that it stands or that it breathes." This dashcam video shows traffic moving normally across 4 unobstructed lanes, when out of nowhere a woman appears in front of a black pickup truck. She keeps walking to the other side like nothing is wrong. The black pickup truck definitely hits its brakes, and the car behind them does so as well, which seems like a realistic response. Then again, there's clearly a red stoplight up ahead, so maybe they were braking for that instead. I don't know why this video is void of color. I'm assuming it's because black and white video would take up less space on the dashcam memory card, but it's safe to say that only a ghost would be able to do what this woman does. Working car parks aren't the most comfortable places in the light of day, so what happens when you enter an abandoned one in the darkness underground? Published to YouTube by Nellis in August of 2016, this video will make underground car parks seem even more terrifying. Nellis writes, "This is the scariest haunted abandoned place we've ever visited. The car park was in connection to a haunted hotel his crew had visited in Bosnia." He says that this video is even scarier than his 2-part series about the hotel. So let's see what's hiding down in this car park. The car park has clearly long been abandoned, overgrown grass at the entrance and rubble inside. As they descend into the pits of creepy, on one wall is a handprint, as though someone smeared something on the wall. It looks like something red. Nellis shines a flashlight into the dark and spots a bag. The crew hears something down in the car park, prompting Nellis to greet the darkness, asking if there's anyone down there to give them a sign.
If there's anyone in here, give us a sign.
A sound is heard, although it's not clear what it could be coming from. He continues to shine his flashlight all along the gap to the car park to see if anything is moving. They hear some more noises, repeated taps.
Wait, did you hear that? Did you hear that?
His friend speaks in Bosnian, likely again questioning whether or not anyone is there. On closer inspection of the underground, they spot a door and recently eaten food. They continue down to the bottom of the incline and throw stuff at the bag they'd seen earlier. While looking deeper into the car park, they don't open the bag, but Nellis says it appeared like someone was sleeping down here or otherwise staying here, as though they found food canisters and towels. As they again hear something in the darkness, they decide it's time to move it on out of there. Nellis says it sounds like something scraping the floor.
Oh my god, I heard something. Wait.
Whether human, animal, or something supernatural, leaving this place with only one way out was probably the best course of action. If you're out paddleboarding, watch your sea legs. Published in April of 2022, YBS Youngbloods writes, "A humbling reminder for myself that it's their ocean and I'm just a visitor. The paddleboarder is at first enamored with a giant sea turtle.
Turtle, big turtle! I'm right in the thick of it! Oh no! Oh!
But soon that excitement turns to panic. A huge shark is seen making his way over and passes below the man's board. When the shark does this, the last place you'd want to be right now is in the water. While many in the comments are panicking, commenter Jethro X has a different perspective. He writes, "For anyone wondering, this is just how we have fun in Australia." When you head into the middle of nowhere in search of a cave, you certainly aren't looking to meet strangers. YouTuber Lil Goofy says that whenever he goes to this place, nobody is there. Not this time. He published this video of the incident in July of 2019 writing, "I brought a friend to see a rare cave in our local mountains that hardly anyone goes to. On our way up through a trail that leads to the caves, a stranger came out and waves at us. Then he pulled out what looked to be a big blade, so me and my friend ran since we didn't have any protection nor cell phones." In the video, the stranger is pointed out at a distance. He's dressed in black, and the YouTuber notes that his hands are behind his back. When the pair realize that the man has a blade, they hightail it out of there as fast as they can. As they slow to a stop, realizing they both left their phones in the car, the stranger rounds the corner and they run off again, taking a left fork in the trail and wondering if the stranger knows the trail better than they do. After a while, they watch for their pursuer and catch him on video running up the trail. Finally, they make it back to their car in one piece. What were this man's intentions? Evil or not, this looked like it wouldn't have ended well. These bizarre chittering noises, recorded in the middle of the woods at almost 3 a.m., were loud enough to rattle the glass of the window in its pain. Tell me if you can identify this creature, because the uploader is certain that this is a skinwalker. I personally have no idea what a skinwalker even sounds like, but if this person lives in the woods and has never heard anything like this before, then I have no reason to doubt them. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.